Yes, we are live this morning. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are tuning in from around the globe and the country. My name is Angeline Constantinu, and I am the founder, CEO, and podcaster of Let's Break the Silence, where we bring awareness about domestic violence and we help women transition, from where they currently are in their situation, and we help them regain their power and regain their wealth and help them attract wealth and abundance in their lives. So welcome to our live broadcast today. I'm super excited. So if you are watching the live right now, please put a hashtag live in the comments. We are broadcasting live on YouTube. We are broadcasting live in the Let's Break the Silence Facebook page and my private group, Let's Break the Silence for Women Only. So happy Monday, happy new week. So I'm going to introduce you now to my wonderful friend and podcaster, Matana Jacobs. So Matana and I had the pleasure of connecting last year on social media, which goes to show you, look at the power of social media. So let me just tell you a little bit about Matana. So she was born in Illinois and raised in Israel. Matana Jacobs has conquered the business world all over the globe. After working for some of Hong Kong's most successful entrepreneurs, Israel's leading IT provider, and becoming, Matana decided to do something more with her life. Matana wanted to channel her business capabilities into a socially responsible venture that would give back. She wanted to incorporate goodness with prosperity and profit with wellness. Hope to Recharge was born last year. She launched her podcast, Hope to Recharge, which I had the pleasure of being interviewed on. And this is why I'm so excited, So this podcast is dedicated to helping break the stigma around mental health. The intention of this show is to bring hope and community to those who are personally struggling with depression and anxiety, or have a loved one who is struggling with depression and anxiety. Each week, the show hears from those who have personal experience dealing with mental health issues, as well as experts in the mental health world, from therapists and doctors to healers. Today, we can break the stigma around depression and anxiety. So without further ado, I am going to bring on Matana.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. Good morning. I'm good. I love the fact that we have matching lipsticks. I wish I don't know, there's so much light in this room, and for some reason my computer is not picking it up, but there is a ton of light because I'm in favor of light. I don't know what the story is and why my computer's not picking it up. But anyway, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me. And thank you for breaking the silence, because silence is what kills people. Literally, silence is what kills people. I deal nonstop with people that are living in silence, and one of the biggest things that I've learned from interviewing and working with so many people over the years, trying to heal, one of the things that they say, the second that they let their voice out is already healing, even though people don't really give them, like, they can't fix the problem or anything like that. Just by voicing, by letting it out, by not keeping it in, that's already such a healing path for them. So breaking the silence, what you are doing, you are gifting the world the ability to share, to own, and to move forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Especially in the world that we're living in now, being with a pandemic, which is still going on. Okay. I know for a fact that domestic violence has increased because of the pandemic, because people are closed in. Now speaking, yeah, and it's important to break the silence, and we help people find their voice by breaking the silence, and also to help them transition and to help them regain their power and attract wealth and abundance in their lives. And a lot of it has to do with mindset. Mindset is really crucial. So in terms of your podcast, you're out to do the same thing, breaking the stigma, break the silence. Let's
Yeah.
break the silence and let's
Right.
raise awareness on mental health issues. So, for those of you who are tuning in today, I had the pleasure of being interviewed on Matana's podcast, Hope to Recharge, last year. So let's talk about, and it was great, it was a great interview. So tell me, before the podcast, I know that where you were, but what was like that pivoting moment for you in starting your podcast, Hope to Recharge? What was that pivoting moment?
So growing up, I was really in a loving, kind family, an Orthodox Jewish family in Israel. I was one of 6. My parents are incredible and were incredible. Like, it was just love, 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 give, give, give. We were poor as anything. We had nothing, but in our hearts, we had everything. Really, we had everything. And when I graduated high school, I started finding myself more in who I was, because I went to a very Orthodox school. And I realized that there was a lot that I couldn't express as an Orthodox Jew that was taught to me. And I started finding myself, really finding myself. It was very sheltered way of living and being. But our family was a very open-minded family, so we were able to speak and talk and have a conversation around it. And as you said, I lived in Hong Kong for a year, and it was one of my biggest growth experience of finding myself, because I was alone with a friend there, no one else. And when I came back, I started the real life of working for the corporate world. And then I really loved the corporate world. I was making a lot of money traveling. I traveled literally the world. Australia, China, Africa, any place in Europe. I was making money, had a company car, 30 people under me, and I didn't want to get married. I was so happy. I was just so happy. But in the Orthodox world, there's no such thing as not getting married, in my world that I grew up. And my parents were like, you got to get married. You got to get married. Anyway, I finally found my husband, a lovely, lovely, lovely guy. He happens to be from New York, from Queens, New York. We met when he was traveling in Israel. And when he came, we were dating for a while, back and forth, back and forth. And then I realized that if I do get married, I know that I want to be dedicated to my children. I know that I couldn't split myself between a high-power job, and it was very high power, and my children. I said, if I get married, I want to have a family. So I left Israel. I left my career, moved to America, moved to New York, and we started our family, and it was great. My husband was working, providing, and I was having the dream life of just having children. One child, second child, third child. We traveled to Israel very often, a few times a year. We traveled like the world. We had a great life. One of my travels that I came back from Israel, I found myself jet lagged. It was a Jewish holiday. Found myself on a couch with a full-blown panic attack, thinking that I'm dying. And I ended up in the emergency room. And it came out of nowhere, because I didn't know what mental illness was. I thought I was having a heart attack. When somebody doesn't know what a panic attack is, they think they're dying from a heart attack or a stroke, or they just feel like their body is off. And before I knew it, from there, I started finding out that I was suffering from deep anxiety, and it spiraled into a debilitating depression. And when I say debilitating, I had 3 children and I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't shower on my own. I couldn't eat. Nothing was going down my throat. I was hospitalized many times, until I realized, oh my God, something is really wrong with me. I was a happy-go-lucky, powerful woman. What happened to me? And then I realized I can't do this alone. I need to find out what is wrong with my brain. Why am I afraid to leave my bed? Why am I afraid to live? I went to a top psychiatrist. Oh, by the way, the full detail of the story is on my podcast if you want to hear. If anybody's going through this, and it's my most popular episode is my story on my podcast, because so many women relate to what I was going through, this panic attack and the stress and the debilitating the hopelessness that I was going through. My whole family lives in Israel and I live in New York. And I called my mom and I said, Mom, something's wrong with me, really wrong with me. Get on a plane, take me to the top doctors, figure out what's wrong with me and get me better. And don't leave me until I'm better. She came right away. It's a phenomenal story. Again, on my podcast, I'm not going to go into it here because it's such a long story. She came and we went to top psychiatrists. And I say top because the first ones I went to were not good and they put me on medication without monitoring me and I was suicidal, very dangerous. Don't ever do that. Make sure you go to a good psychiatrist and therapist before you go. And he put me on great medication. So my road to recovery was long. It wasn't overnight. It was really long. It took me years. But I was determined to heal. I said, I have 3 kids. I want to go back to the Matana I know. I was well. I was good. I was vibrant. I'm going to go back to that. And I'm going to go back to a better one that I was. So I started researching. One of the first books that changed my life, was The Secret, The Law of Attraction.
Yeah. I love that book.
Yeah, right?
Oh,
it's everything. It's the foundation of everything. It was really the foundation. And I remember I called a few therapists and I said, does The Secret really work? Is it a real thing? Is the law of attraction real? Tell me it's real because I want to tap into this. I want to understand it. I never understood the concept. I heard about the law of attraction, but I thought it was like this spiritual, mystical thing that I don't connect to. And then I read it again and again and again. And then I bought the book, The Power and the Magic, which is they're also part of the sequel of The Secret. And I said, I'm going to start living The Secret. And I took courses and I bought more books on the law of attraction. And I hired mentors and I went to healers and therapists. I did everything. I spent over $100,000 on recovery. People say recovery is easy. No, it's not. It takes time. It takes money. It takes persistence. But the reward after getting better is so strong, it's so big that it's worth anything. It's really worth to have my joy back again, to have my inner instinct back again. I was very intuitive before I got sick. Very intuitive. I used to dream things and tell my people, like my family and friends about it. And my dreams always came true. And then I lost my intuition and I'm like, something's off with me. I needed my intuition back. I want my intuition back. And that's what happened. And what you were saying before about mindset, I can't stress it enough. If I had neon colors, all like big signs all over the world, I would say mindset and choosing what comes into your mind and choosing who your surrounding is and your people around you and your environment is the foundation of who you are. Yes, you determine who you are. You make it or break it. But what you feed your mind and what you read and what you believe and what you say to yourself and what you hear from others. If you hear negative, you're going to feel negative. You know, the beginning of the pandemic, they said, you know what is more catchy than the pandemic? Anxiety. You walk into a room, more than anything, anxiety could be 6 feet apart. With the pandemic, they said make 6 feet apart. With anxiety, 12 feet apart. You're going to feel anxious. If you're going to come into a room full of joy, you're going to feel joy. You're just going to feel something's going to shift. So make sure that you know who you are hanging out with and choose the right people to hang out with because they're going to impact you more than the pandemic.
Oh, I agree with you. Boy, do I agree with you on that. It is important, first of all, to surround yourselves with people who are on a higher level. I always say get yourself a mentor.
Get yourself a mentor. Always. And the mentors change, by the way. And it doesn't mean that the first mentor wasn't good. the first mentor met you where you were, and then you go to the next step, then you get your next mentor. And you know what? My first mentor in life, she's still my best friend. I owe her everything in my life. She was my first boss. She is my mentor. Till today, I go and ask her things. But I graduated her because she believed in me and she took me to the next step. And then the next, and then I took another one, and then another one, and then but you're still basing yourself on your first mentors. You just graduate to the next one, but you still walk through life with everything the first mentors taught you.
Exactly. See, your first mentor, I'm sorry, they're a stepping stone to move on to the next mentor, which I am doing right now. I'm moving up. Okay. So to my next mentor. But you never forget where you came from. So you never forget where you came from,
You choose to not. You choose to not. Some people forget, and that's and then they fall back. But if you remember where you came from, you're leading with a meaning, and you're living by choice and what you're serving, and then everything becomes more colorful and exciting. It's just a different kind of life versus just going through the motions of life versus with intention and mindfulness.
Exactly. So about your podcast now, I wanted to talk to you about your podcast. So who do you reach? How far does your podcast reach, meaning demographic wise?
It's funny because it's literally all over the world. You know that they give you like these downloads maps where your downloads are coming from. I didn't even know these countries existed.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. It is like, wow, it's all over the world. Yeah, all over the world. Like weird places. And I'm like, wow, I got to New Zealand. Like people in New Zealand listen to me. Alaska, it's weird. It's just weird. It's really, so thank God, it's doing really well. We have over 140 episodes. We're reaching 50,000 downloads, and slowly we're just breaking the stigma. This month we're speaking about mental illness by youth and breaking the stigma by adolescents, and how to encourage parents and mentors, talking about mentors, parents and mentors and teachers to notice mental illness by children and youth, and how to protect them from getting to a place. There's a lot of mental illness now by youth is caused by society and by social media, from social pressure. How to encourage teens and youth to use social media properly, how to protect them from abuse on social media, how to teach them to do what we're doing, healthy mindset, surround yourself with good people, make sure you're not being bullied or don't be the bully. Also, all these things are important. So this is what we're teaching now. The suicide rate is going up, and it's shocking because it's never been more, mental health awareness has never been more spoken about, and like nowadays, right? It's right. The stigma is breaking slowly, but yet the suicide rates are going up, and it's shocking. Why? And I asked this to a psychiatrist recently, and he said because there's a correction time that takes place, and the world is going through a correction now, and the suicide rates will go down. But now the world is getting educated and inspired, but then we have to implement it, and the implementing takes time. So he gave me hope that it's just going to take time. But so we speak about a lot about depression by postpartum moms and depression from divorces. What you're doing, breaking the silence on domestic violence, like how much people live in silence. It's appalling. It's appalling how much people are suffering, and they feel like there's no hope. A lot of times I speak to clients when they come to me, Doug. So there's a whole process to work with me, because I believe that in order to heal, you need to want it badly. You need to want it so badly, and you have to go against the stream, and it's going to be hard and brutal, and you're going to have to do brain exercises that are not fun. and you're going to have to break relationships that you're used to and codependent and a lot of scary stuff. So one of the things that I always say is like, how much do you want it? How much are you willing to give in order to really create a new life? Because it's going to be hard. It's going to be really, really it's going to be a new way of looking at things and processing things in order to create the new you that you want to create. But nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. And when you know that,
I agree
and you
with you.
believe that, right? Nothing. And when you feel depleted, go on YouTube and look at somebody inspiring. Look at somebody that doesn't have legs and starts climbing mountains. Yeah, right? Like you have people, right? If a person without legs can I recently interviewed an athlete that lost his legs when he was 5, and he's running. He's an athlete. So like, and if you want to be inspired, you look to be inspired. If you want to be a victim, there's plenty of places to hang out and being in victim mode, but it won't move you forward. It won't. It will just make you deeper and deeper into the cement of victim mode versus thriving and living. And I'm not here to tell you that it's easy, because it's not. It's not. It's hard and sometimes it's brutal. But when you find the right community and you find the right support system is essential. And you know what? We're living in a time that we don't have to go to group therapy, because we can find it online. We have Facebook groups, we have courses, right. We have platforms, we have so much of Zoom conferences. We have so much for free, literally for free. If you want to, you can join communities and just take one little step at a time of just showing up to the places that are positive, that are giving you strength and hope, versus staying put where you're not moving forward.
Exactly. You brought out a really good point. And Renee Cole, who was tuning in from Canada, she's saying this stuff needs to be taught in schools. And she's 100%.
Absolutely. We're trying to get into schools, and one of the things that I'm trying to get into to elementary school is, as much as we're learning math, we need to learn about the power of our mind, the power of how your surrounding is important, how powerful your mind is. When you put your mind to something, you can achieve it. How important it is to know where you want to go, how important it is to break silence, how important it is to work with what you have and move forward. All these things, bullying, being okay to talk about our adversities. Don't live in it in silence. Talk about it, share, find your community, build awareness, because together is always better. That's my slogan. Together is always better. We can, our energies connect, our minds connect, our abilities connect, and we just move a little bit forward. And we hold each other up when we feel depleted.
Exactly. Absolutely. Tell the viewers and listeners today who are tuning in today, tell us about your Hope to Recharge community.
So I started this community because it's a Hope to Recharge Facebook group. I had a mastermind, and we also have a mastermind, but that's paid. But Hope to Recharge community is free. Anybody can join. We're authentic, we're real, but we're not victims. I always say, do you believe in hope? Do you believe in change? Do you believe in healing? In order to join this community, you have to believe in hope, in change, and growth. You have to believe in it, because that's what we work on. We work on noticing what's not working, but giving answers, not just saying, oh, it's not going to be okay. Giving answers and ideas of how we can implement and change, how we can grow, not just live in misery. And I'm not one of those that don't believe in hard days. Yesterday I had a very hard day. I don't know why. I just had a hard day. Nothing specific. Had a hard day. You know what? But I needed to own it. And part of healing is owning hard days and saying, okay, I'm going to give myself this day off. But at the same time, we have to say, okay, if I don't know why I'm having this hard day, what can I do in order to move forward out of this hard day to create a better tomorrow? What are we going to do to implement a better tomorrow? Instead of staying in the pity party. I said it's so much easier to stay in the pity party because we don't have to do the work. We don't have to do the work of thinking, of breaking old habits, forgiveness. And Angeline, remember we spoke about forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and forgiving others. It's so important, and it's hard work to do this stuff. It's really not pretty. Like, just think about your story, Angeline, when you have to forgive your husband that was abusive to you, but in order to move forward, you had to let it go, and to hold the anger and to hold the resentment is not going to make you move forward, right?
Exactly. It's not going to help. No. You have to let it go. It doesn't mean that you let them back in your life. It just means that you're just letting go. You're letting go. The past hurts. You're letting go of all the abuse that he heaped on me, which was brutal, and moving on and empowering women, So, in other words, what I did was I put that to good use. I channeled that energy. So instead of holding on to that bitterness and anger, I'm channeling that energy to helping women,
And finding meaning. Finding meaning through your pain.
Myself. So, that's going to be coming soon. So I'm really super excited about that. And let's talk about your mastermind group for a second. So how often do you do your mastermind groups? Is it monthly or like how do you?
So it is monthly. We're on a pause now because it was a lot going on with me. So I had to pause the mastermind. We're going to start it in a few months. Every month we work on a different topic. So there was self-love, forgiveness, gratitude. I'm a huge believer of gratitude. Like, if you don't have gratitude in your life, you're not moving forward. You're not.
I agree.
I'm going to say that 100%. If you don't have gratitude and live with gratitude in your life, you will not be able to move out of your adversity. And you could say, but how can I be grateful with when I'm going through what I'm going through? There's always something to be grateful for. And it doesn't mean that you're not giving time to be in the pain. It doesn't mean, we're not saying fake hope and all that. No, it means that you're going to choose. It's a choice. I once heard of a lovely talk about resilience. And there was a mom, a doctor that actually studied resilience in, she was a PhD in one of these school, and she was doing her thesis on resilience. And she knew everything about it. And then her daughter died in a car crash. Her daughter and her best friend died in a car crash, just like that. Boom. And she's oh my God, this is what resilience needs. Like, let me see if resilience really works. Let me see if it really works. And she was naming a few things that people with resilience do. And she said the people with resilience hunt down things to be grateful for. They hunt it down. They go looking for it. Because on a good day, it's easy to find things that you're grateful for, right? It's easy, right? But on a hard day, you have to go hunting for those things that you're grateful for. And you need to be mindful of it and say, even though I feel brutal now and my heart is broken and I don't know if I can take this pain anymore, I'm going to choose, it's a choice, to look for the things that are working in my life. And if you're living, there is always something that's working. We're so used to be consumed by pain that our mind goes directly and expands on the pain versus expanding on the joy and expanding on things that really work. The more you're going to live in gratitude, the more you're going to attract what we said before. You're going to attract the good to your life. It's just going to be a ripple effect.
Exactly. What you put out to the universe is what comes back to you. So when you're putting good out to the universe, it automatically comes back to you tenfold. Mm-hmm. If you're putting out bad, negative's going to come back to you. So, let's say, for instance, like last week, talking about a hard day, I think it was last Tuesday, It was sort of like a hard day for me, but I got through it, and and this, I felt like the demons were coming back, which was like, oh my
Mm.
God, where are all these demons coming from? But I was able to just take a step back, take the day off, and gather my thoughts together. I practice gratitude every day, so I listen to gratitude meditations. I do morning
Yes.
affirmations. I
Yes.
journal every morning, and that's important. That's really,
Yes.
really important. So I
It's
just want
crucial.
to,
If
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I want to just say that if there's one thing that you want to choose, and it's for free, you could do it on your own, right? Gratitude, you could do. If there's
Yeah,
one thing, if you feel like you're in a rut, you can't move. You're in bed, you're so depleted, you don't know how to move forward. If there's one tip I could tell you, start with gratitude. And it doesn't mean a whole journaling thing. If you can't think on your own because your mind isn't working, open a gratitude meditation on YouTube. Go to your apps where you listen to things. If it's Pandora, if it's Spotify, Google gratitude meditation. And it's, yeah, exactly. Gratitude and affirmation journaling every day. Exactly, Renee. Every day. And the
absolutely. And
ripple effect is unbelievable. The thing that I started with, and people often ask me, so how did you heal from depression? How did you get up? And now, like, my life now is on a level of joy that I didn't even dream about before. And before, I was such a happy person. I thought, like, wow, if I even get back to half of what I was before is great. Now I'm on a different level. I'm a new me. And people say, what was the thing that was the change, a big change? I said, when I read The Secret, and I read that in you attract what you think, and it's the more you think about positive, the more positive will come your way, and it's rewiring your brain. I started with gratitude. It was a non-negotiable every morning, and sometimes it was tears coming down my eyes just
yeah,
because it was so hard to hunt those things to be grateful for when you're so broken and you feel like that you have no purpose in this life. But the more you tap into that gratitude, you suddenly feel a switch. There's just like a switch. And yesterday, when I was feeling depleted, I went into gratitude right away. I locked myself in my room. My kids know I have 5 kids. They know if mommy's in her room, she's doing her mindset stuff. And it's so incredible. Some people pop a pill, and I'm not against pills if you need. I was on medication for many years. Thank God I'm off of it now. But some people need
mm,
it their entire life, and that's okay. But if we can pop our own pill of the mindfulness, why go to drugs if we can do the same thing drugs does? And I tell this to my clients all the time, all the time. Drugs are a miracle, really a miracle. But what if you can tap into your own drug store in your mind? And there's no side effects to it, but only good outcomes. What if you could tap into your mind and it's your drugstore?
right, exactly, exactly, absolutely, absolutely. I just want to share what Renee just said here, right here. See, she says, I was on the brink of divorce, and spiritual development and mindset work taught me a lot about acceptance and forgiveness and learning about how to understand and have empathy for people. And now I have, that's great, Renee. Standing
Yes,
ovation.
Renee. By the
Woo!
way, that is the key. By the way, I can't even tell you, I have tears from reading this because
I know.
we often want to change the people around us, but sometimes accepting them and understanding them is the key to connection. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes the people around us are abusive and toxic, yes, but sometimes we just want to change them because it's our own old wounds that we need to heal. When we come to acceptance and mindfulness and understanding all that, Renee, oh my God, you really brought me tears because
I know. I
I
almost broke
can't.
out in tears.
It's unbelievable.
Woo!
Exactly. And sometimes you realize that the new you with the positive mindset, with the acceptance, and seeing the other person and understanding the other person is so essential and healing. And then you realize, oh my God, maybe somebody will understand me and notice me for my imperfections, right?
Right, right. Renee was being really vulnerable right there. I commend her. I know Renee for 3 years, actually. We're very good friends. We actually met in the same mentorship program. See, my own
Oh
wounds
yeah.
will have a purpose. This should all
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Our own wounds, our own wounds. I have an EFT session every single week. That's my non-negotiable. I don't go to therapy anymore, but I have my EFT. And I always say our wounds come with us to our grave. It's just every time we just unravel. Sometimes we fix them and then they come up again, and then we think that we move forward, and then
right.
something triggers up. Different stages in life, different people in life, but we're made out of our wounds, and we have to own them and know what triggers us, what's good for us, what's healthy for us, and communicate about it. One of the things that I'm working on a lot this year, last year, was smiling. I was doing a smile a day every day before corona started. January 2020. January 2020, I wrote down my big goal for 2020: start the morning with a smile, end the day with a smile, and increase smiles every day. And I said, I want to see the effect that it's going to be. Little did I know what an important goal that will be for 2020, right? And
Oh, yeah.
I logged about it. I took a picture of my kids, and we have a hashtag, a smile a day, keeps the frown away. And the power of smiling, the power of increasing and noticing what we're happy about, noticing what to smile about. Just to frown is easy, but if you smile, you're increasing it. So this year in 2021, and this is what I want to say to Renee, because she's spot on. 2021, I said, my new goal for the year is listen to understand, not to respond.
I like that. I like that. Whoo, did you hear
And
that,
right?
everyone?
Listen to
Understand.
understand, not in order to respond. And when we want to be understood, we have to do the same thing to the other person. So I think that's what Renee was doing in her relationship. She started listening with her heart, with her mind, to understand what is going on. And just by the way, it doesn't mean when you listen, right? Absolutely. And it doesn't mean that when we listen, that means we stay together with someone that's not good for us. No, you have to leave out of a place of wholesomeness, of owning yourself instead of running away, choosing yourself because you want to be the better you versus running away from somebody that is not good for you, right? So, and when
Absolutely.
we listen, we understand the other person, if they're good for us or not good for us. If we can join together, but we're doing it not out of hate, we're doing it out of self-love.
Exactly. Exactly. Self-love is so important. It's important, to love yourself first.
Yes. No one
That
can
was
love you if
what
you don't love
my
yourself.
millionaire mentor taught me. You have to love yourself first before you can love
Yeah.
others.
And no one can love you if you don't love yourself.
Right.
No one can love you if you
It
don't love
doesn't
yourself,
work.
because everybody's mirroring you. So if you're going to love yourself, people around you are going to love yourself. But true love, true acceptance with all the brokenness and all the not working. Yes.
Renee, yes.
Yeah. You have to
See?
cut up. Right.
Right. Cut off toxic relationships. My husband still has things to work on, and I've seen change in him too. See?
Yep.
Good. Good.
Yep.
I'm glad
Yep.
that you're both
Yep.
working it out, Renee. Very happy to hear that. And cutting off toxic relationships is really important. That's what I did when I was going
Right.
through my divorce. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Renee's case, they're working it out. But in my case, the violence was so brutal that I had to leave, and I had to take
Right.
steps to leave. So
Yeah.
I commend Renee. Renee, she has, I think, 3 kids. Yeah, 3 beautiful children. So, I'm glad that they're both working it out. That really makes me happy. That really, really makes me happy,
Good.
Renee. So, all right. So, Matana, I have a question about now. Where do you see yourself in like 5 years with the podcast and with
First, okay. So in 5 years, I want to be one of those Brene Browns on stages that talks about breaking the stigma. I really want to be the go-to that believes that anybody can heal, anybody can change, and anybody can choose to live a better life. Because I did it, and I want to teach everybody how to do it. And I want to write my book about my story, but my book will be a little bit interactive. It will be more of chapters of different mentors in my life and how that impacted me and what I learned from each one. Not just a memoir, but different, like step by step. By each chapter will be like take what happened in every step of my becoming my new me. And my podcast, I don't know, maybe being on the top 100 again of health and wellness. And I just want to be able to be the one that always gives hope to those, and that's why I called it Hope to Recharge. I want to share the hope and the light, and to those that are feeling depleted today, to say, you know what, I can feel depleted today, but there's hope, and it takes time, and it's okay. It's okay that it takes time. Find your community, because in mental health, together is always better, and that's what it is.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's all about community. And Renee says, I've been working on a book for youth and I want to speak in schools. Good. Renee, go for it.
Go for it. Go for it.
Hope is the key to change. That's right. She's 100% right.
Yes.
And she also wrote something.
Yes.
I just want to, I shared it earlier. So about, yes. Oh, yes. This I agree with her. Both the education and healthcare systems are so broken and outdated. So many gaps, but people like Matana will fill in the gap. That's right, and bring essential change. Thanks for doing this work.
Yeah. I want to read you what one of my mentors wrote. One of my mentors, Paul Cummings, and I made you know what? I'm going to send you the meme that I made for him today, because so this is what he wrote. You are someone special because you are. You were destined to be great. God doesn't make flops or flip-flops. You were put on this earth and designed for maximal potential. Go be great because you can. Nothing is impossible. We can do anything we set our minds to do. Look up and go up. Have fun. Yeah. Get up.
I like that. I love it.
I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it to you. He is a phenomenal, he's one of my mentors that he also talks about. So he is fantastic. He has 2 episodes on my podcast. He was a world-renowned motivational speaker. Traveled the world, millions of dollars, corporate companies bringing him to speak about how to achieve goals. And he wrote the book. I wonder if it's not. It's in my other office. He wrote a book about setting goals. His name is Paul Cummings. He came home from one of his speaking engagement, and he had a stroke like that. Within a second, he lost his ability to speak, to read, and to write. And he loved writing because he's an author, and he loved teaching. He was trapped in his mind, and he couldn't do anything. In a second, he taught himself how to speak. When people told him, doctor said, you'll never speak again, you'll never read again, nothing, and he would just cry. And his mother whispered into his ears, start doing what you taught for so many years. Start from scratch, build on. And now he's back to speaking. He still speaks slowly, but to see how far he came in 2 years since his stroke, unbelievable. He's speaking now. Now he's going and he's teaching people with strokes how to speak again. That's the power of mindset and the work and the resilience, and over and over and over. And people said to him, you'll never speak again. You'll never write again. And now he has a show every day, twice a day, encouraging people. Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
He was up against the odds and he defeated it. He
Literally,
mindset. That's what
unbelievable.
did it. His mindset.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So important, guys. So important,
Yeah.
ladies. You know, mindset is everything. Mindset, right. Never listen to anyone, right. That includes doctors too. Never listen to anyone who
Yeah.
says you can't. Because you know
Exactly.
what?
Because you can
You
do
can't.
anything. Right. I'm gonna send you that quote that he says every
Good.
single day. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. Oh my gosh. Wow, I'm so happy. So where can people find you? Okay, so on the Hope to Recharge podcast, you're on Apple. So where else are you are?
I'm on
Where can
all the platform. I'm on Spotify, Apple. Our community is in
okay.
Hope to Recharge community. If you go to hopetorecharge.com, hopetorecharge.com has everything. Okay?
Okay, good.
hopetorecharge.com. That's our website. All the episodes are there. Our blog are there. Our if anybody wants to work with me one-on-one and to get to the next level of wellness, it's also there. Everything is there. Everything is
Good.
there. So it's one-stop
Good.
shop. hopetorecharge.com, and there's a link to our Facebook community there. Join us, but you have to be optimistic. In order to join our community, you have to be optimistic. You have to learn to hold on to hope. If you have hope, you can come join us.
Good. Good. So for those viewers and listeners who are tuning in, please go to hopetorecharge.com and you can connect with Matana. You can find out about her, her podcast, her blog, everything. So feel free to do that. And I just wanted to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule with 5 children, for being a guest on my podcast today. Let's break the silence. And speaking of my website, you can find my podcast on letsbreakthesilence.com. You can find me there on all the social media channels. And I'm Let's Break the Silence is on Anchor FM and on Spotify and on RSS feed. So this episode today will be uploaded on my podcast later today. And Matana, I want to thank you for being a special guest on my podcast. This is a great day. This is a great way to start off the new week. So any closing remarks?
The number one thing, if you feel depleted, go to gratitude. Just go to gratitude. And if you don't know how to do it, if you don't know, find a friend, find a mentor, find a book. There's always a way to learn something, and we're in the world of resources now. So start with gratitude. If you don't know where to start with gratitude. Hold on to hope. And you don't have the answers. I always say you will never know what will lead you from A to Z. Never. You'll be lucky if you know what leads you from A to B. But if you don't take the very little first step to recovery, to a better life, don't live in your adversity. Don't give into it. Take action. Start with gratitude. If you don't know where to start with gratitude.
I agree. That's where it all starts. That
all starts.
Is where it all starts. So thanks again, Matana, for
thank you for having me. Thank you. Yes, this is so great. And guys, go break the silence. Go break your silence. Share your stories. Share who you are. We all have a gift. Remember, God doesn't make flip-flops or flops.
Right, exactly. I like that. I love that. It is such a pleasure to have you on my show today, Matana. Thank you for those who are listening, and happy Monday. And for those of you who are catching the replay here in our private group and on our Facebook fan page and on YouTube, please let us know that you've watched the replay, and we would love your feedback. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you.
Wonderful week.
Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. God bless. Bye-bye.